Happy morning, children, and back again to the English session. And the last session we had discussed regarding the glimpses of the past, chapter 3 in English literature, right? Let us have a quick look on what we have discussed in the last session. Okay, the first thing is we have discussed the first thing is glimpses of the past, the mud trees. This is the first part which we had discussed in the last session. And then the second thing is the companies, conquest, and how the Indian rulers and British rulers conversed in capturing the land, right? And then the third thing is British rule. How the Britishers enter India and what are the planned strategies they have followed to occupy our land. And the next thing, Ram Mohan Roy. So the nature of Raja Ram Mohan Roy and how advanced his way of thinking and what all he spoke with his wife and what are the things when and where he went later when he went to England, how he brought back the conversation regarding the rights of Indians, right? Yes. And the last thing is oppression. And this oppression we had just seen, visualized the sufferings of our Indians and how the industrialization, the British industries entered, occupied our India, like occupied our trade, and how our Indians and weavers, all such sort of people were suffering under their rule. So these are the 5 parts which we had discussed in last session, isn't it? And then this is the activity and the book back exercise what we have done in the last session. Okay, and in today's session we are going to start with the 6th part, that is dissatisfaction. So before going to the explanation part, let me read the conversation between these people. Education in India was in Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, an Englishman named Macaulay suggested a change. So what is the change? Let us see. We should teach the natives through the English language, and this is how English language entered our stage. And this fellow is saying, I agree. English education produced clerks to whom the British gave pretty jobs under them. Incidentally, it also produced a new generation of intellectuals. In order to develop their own language in our country, they started paying more amount to our Indians. Why? To improvise, to develop their tongue, their mother tongue to stabilize their language in our India. So the conversation is, we must educate our brothers and try to improve their material conditions. So here this fellow is saying that they must educate their brothers, and this fellow is saying that they have to improve their material conditions. And for that we must convey our grievances to the British Parliament. So this is the conversation between these people. And here is the map given. In 1856, the British had conquered the whole of India. They cared little about the needs of Indians too. Our kings have become puppets and we have lost our old jobs. And these people now discussing, our Indians are discussing between themselves that their kings have become puppets in the hands of Britishers and they have lost their old jobs. And lands also. They are converting our brothers. You only talk, do something to drive them away. So when they are talking about that they have lost their jobs and lands and how they had manipulated people into their hands, and this fellow is getting angry and he said that you always stop talking and start doing the work, and let us plan to drive these fellows out of our country. And the explanation part for this sixth dissatisfaction is like, coming to the back again, let us, if we look into the back again, all the teachings were, the way of teaching was in the form of Persian and Sanskrit. The two languages, the old forms, the way of the languages, the way of learning and teaching is only in what form? The form of Persian and Sanskrit. In 1835, a British officer named Macaulay suggested that they must translate all of it in English. They want to translate everything in the English language so that there should be an universal language, and that should be an English. So that the education is delivered in their language only. All the people will be automatically converted into their language. And they did so. They have done all things. Why? Because they want to produce clerks to get their unimportant clerical tasks like administrative rules, responsibilities we can take. Like talking in the phone, answering at that time we don't have all this mail purpose, okay? Like if they are buying and selling materials, the way of receiving bills all will be there, right? All those documents related, government related or private related documents, and the phone calls like telecalling department, and maintaining the records, everything only the clients should be done, and those clients must know the English so that English will be maintained all over. A single language will be there to maintain all these official records. And in this process, they also started producing a whole new generation of masterminds who wanted to uplift their brothers also. How? By educating them and by introducing this English language. Next, they wanted to strengthen their financial prospects that could lead like to upcoming generations and in the future also. So it helps in the financial crisis, and they want to convey this to the British Parliament, as well as on the other hand they have to convey everything to the British Parliament. So the Britishers on the other hand, what they started doing, they couldn't care less. They can't care about all these things and what the people need. They don't care about the needs of the Indian people, right? So at this time, Indian people also had become more worried because they need to know the language in order to survive under their rule. And their kings were treated as puppets in the hands of Britishers. And they were treated as puppets. These kings will listen only to the British rulers. They will not have their sense of mind at all. And these people in the country, the cities, the states started worrying about that. Even their kings are not taking any action against the Britishers. Against these rulers, they were playing as puppets in their hands. And they had lost their jobs and lands on which they and their families are surviving. And Britishers were forcing some of them to change into their religion. Indians were tired of talking between themselves. These people are very tired because daily gossiping and talking between themselves, because they are not able to take any action against these rulers. But instead of talking and gossiping, they want to do something efficient against these meaningless heads. Understood? Now, let us see. Look in this map. In 1856, the Britishers had acquired all parts of India. The pink color is the Britishers And the seventh, the yellow color is the states. So maximum of the India is occupied by whom? Acquired by the Britishers. The Britishers acquired all the parts of India, maximum parts. Okay. Next thing. Now seventh one. Seventh one is the sparks 1855 to 57. Now we are going to discuss about the sparks. Sparks. Taxes continued to ruin the peasants in Bengal. The Santalas, who had lost their lands under new land rules, became desperate. In 1855, they rose in rebellion and massacred Europeans and their supporters alike. Discontent was brewing in the East India Company army too. The white soldiers get huge pay mansions to live in servants, while we get a pittance and slow promotions. The Angles ask us to cross the sea, which is against our religion. Who is a Topiwala to abolish our age-old customs. We must drive out the Angles. So Sepoy Mangal Pandey attacked the adjutant of his regiment and was executed. Thousands of other sepoys revolted. They were stripped of their uniforms, humiliated and put in irons. Few Englishmen had cared to understand Indian customs or the people's mind. Oh, proud Brahmin soldiers, do you know that the grease on the bullet you have to bite is made from the fat of what? Cows and pigs. What? Yes, the white man has deceived us too. Soon, the chapatis were sent from village to village to tell the people that their emperor would want their servants. Yes, all my village men will be ready. Similarly, lotus flowers circulated among Indian soldiers. Death to the foreigner, the masses gave all help and shelter to the patriots. So, the seventh part is conveying us that in ever increasing taxes levied on the peasants, on the people, continue to give more and more stress on the people. The struggles are becoming worse and worse day by day, and the financial status is also getting down. Their financial status is also getting down. And the Santalas in Bengal became hopeless. They were really vexed from their hearts. They are feeling distressed and hopeless after they lost their land and also their jobs. And the land was occupied by whom? The Britishers under the new land rules. In 1855, they launched a rebellion and massacred Europeans and all those who supported them. The people working under the East India Company, the people who are working under East India Company were highly paid. Their salaries were high. But some of the people who were working under the same East India Company are people, they are dissatisfied with their behavior. Because the actual fact, the truth of behind their dissatisfaction is like they gave to their people. They gave a high salary to only the English people and they treated our Indians as slaves. And the mansions and other help also, while they gave Indians only insufficient amount of payment, and the promotions for the soldiers, English soldiers is high and the promotions for our Indians is very low. This is happening nowadays also in all the organizations, children. Only the people who is going to play a fair role is winning. So, along with our hard work, we have to we have to equalize our hard work with the smart work to be successful in our life, to lead a successful life in our life. And now, they felt bad about the Britishers because they want to move out of the land across the sea and work for them, which was even against their religion. According to their religious things, they will not cross the seas, but here they have to survive. So even though it's against to their religion, they want to go across the sea. They want to go across the sea and work for themselves and not for others. They were motivated to drive the Britishers out of the country. An Indian soldier, he was serving under the British of European orders, and his name was Mangal Pandey. He is one of our Indian soldier. He even attacked the people, but later he was executed. And around thousands of other sepoys means soldiers, around thousands of soldiers like Mangal Pandey took violent action, took very rude action against the British, but they were only robbed of their uniform in turn to make the sepoys feel humiliated. They want to insult them who fought against them. So when they joined together to fight against the Britishers, they just ripped their uniforms. That's all. The game over. So what is the use? And some of the Englishmen even began to understand how Indians thought and how their mind works on their customized minds. Then they told Brahmin soldiers that the bullet they were supposed to bite is covered with grease, oily layer which is made up of fat, which the fat comes from what? Cows and pigs. Cows and pigs. Next, chapatis were being sent to each home in every village, conveying that their services could be required to fight the Englishmen. People agreed lotus flowers were circulated among the Indians. Even the people also agreed that the lotus flowers were circulated among the Indians and within the soldiers also. The nation stood against them with the support of masses in the form of shelter. And other help to the patriots. So the whole nation started to support these sepoys who is fighting for our nation by giving them like shelter, food, and supporting them like the other help to the patriots also they started helping. Okay children, so this is a brief explanation about the 7th part. And next comes the revolt part. Revolt 1857. Then there was a violent outbreak at Meerut. The sepoys marched to Delhi. Long live our Emperor Bahadur Shah. The rebellion spread wider. Many landlords had lost their lands because of the British policies and they were sold. The white man's rule must end. Yes, we will help you. So, 8th part is very short one, children. Their urge, their request, their way of conveyance is just to free the nation. Free the nation, like how the Britishers are ruling, the way of Britishers ruling our Indians, how they're dominating our people in our country. So these people are urging only to get rid of those Britishers, and they want to free the nation from these British rulers, and they don't want these rulers to continue with their rules and regulations in our country. And now, the city of Meerut. The city of Meerut also experienced a violent outbreak. Violent outbreak means physical attack. And these sepoys marched and moved to Delhi. Where did they go? They went to Delhi only to support their emperors like Bahadur Shah, because he was one of the king who is ready to fight against the Britishers, and these all the sepoys want to support the kings, emperors like Bahadur Shah to get rid of these Britishers. And the revolt, the same thing continued to spread and grow from word of the mouth. And they even got the support from the landlords, because these landlords were also under the struggle of these Britishers. They even got the support of the landlords, and also they lost their land due to the new rules and land. Many of the people lost their jobs also, the same way the landlords lost their lands, and they were unable to digest all such things. People were angry, people were aggregated. So in that angriness, with that situation, like how they got stressed and struggled under the Britishers, so they were really very angry and they wanted to fight back the Britishers. Okay, this is a small thing about the revolts. Let us see what is there in the 9th part. Okay, children.
The next 9th part is the Fight for Freedom 1857. The Fight for Freedom 1857. Many former rulers like Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow were bitter. The white man has taken away my kingdom. They joined the upsurge against the foreigner. Popular leaders like Maulvi Ahmadullah of Faizabad told the people, "Rise, brothers, rise. The angrace is ruining our land." The people rose everywhere in Bareilly, Kanpur and Allahabad. Next. Azimullah Khan told Tatya Top, "We should have Peshwa Nana Sahib as our leader in this war of independence." The patriots pounced upon the British and fought pitched battles all over North India. 80-year-old Conversing of Bihar received a bullet in his wrist. "Mother Ganga, this is my last offering to you." So with this, the 9th part is over, children. Now, when we look into the explanation part, many rulers, the rulers who were existing still, were bitter too. They also felt uneasy, they also felt uncomfortable under their rule. Why? Because the Englishmen, the Britishers had taken control of all their kingdoms also, and also these rulers were under the control of the Britishers. And leaders like, the heads like Mauli Ahmadullah of Faridabad motivated people. He started motivating people to free the country from those Britishers, English people. Okay, he started like working against, he started gathering people and he started like motivating people to fight against those Britishers. And people of Bareilly, Kanpur and Allahabad also started to fight back against these Britishers. And former rulers like Begum Hazrat Mahal of Lucknow joined them, joined with these people to fight back against the Britishers. And even that Begum Hazrat Mahals also, her kingdom are also had been taken away by the Britishers. It means the Lucknow was also taken by the Britishers, and so she joined her hands with these people, and thereby they all formed into a group. Like in each and every part, people were against the Britishers, and they started strengthening their part. They have started like a bond between the land and the people, showed the unity of our nation, and started fighting back the Britishers. And entire North India came together in large numbers to fight the battle against the Britishers. So wherever the Britishers are trying to hide or trying to rule over, there our people stood. The whole North India stood as they showed their unity to fight back against the Britishers. And in the light of this, Azimullah Khan expressed his thoughts to Tatya Top that they should have Peshwa Nana Sahib as their leader in the war of independence against the English. So when the North Indians are fighting, then when they form a group, when they were united to fight back the Britishers, this Peshwa Nana Sahib, they expressed, Azimullah Khan expressed that he just he conveyed his view that Peshwa Nana Sahib can be the leader in this war of independence against the English people. So in this revolt, in this battle, in this fight against the Britishers, 8-year-old Kunwar Singh of Bihar was hit by a bullet. What is his age? 8-year-old Kunwar Singh of from where? Bihar was hit by a bullet in the wrist, which he dedicated to Mother Ganga as an offering. Even though when he got hit by a bullet, he took it happily, and he told that this is his offering to Mother Ganga. This is his life. He is going to offer his life to our land, Mother Ganga only. And he is not at all feeling down, even though he got a bullet. So this is the short, brief description in the 9 parts, children. So totally there are 9 parts in this chapter. In each part, we have mentioned so many leaders and the years and everything, and what are the how they conveyed and how they formed and how they showed unity to fight back against the Britishers. So the overall theme of this story is fighting back the English men. So this is the 9th part, children, and later. So these are the key points. It means the main points from this chapter which we had collected. Let me read this. This text depicts the historical events in India during 1757 to 1857. India under the British rule was slowly being stripped of its wealth, land and other resources. Indians were systematically oppressed by the British in terms of trade, education, and other social policies and laws. The petty fights between the Indian princes and sorry, just a second, guys. Yes, let me read again. The petty fights between the Indian princes and the social and religious backwardness of people contributed in the British expansion. A new era of educated intellectuals become India's hope for change. And in 1857, tired of British policies and annexures of lands and kingdoms, Indians rose in revolt at various places all over the North India. And this revolt paved the way to the first freedom fight against British rule in India. So children, these are the key points or conclusion, overall view of this lesson. Okay. And the message from this lesson is, while there will always be people who try to dominate and rule over others, there will also be people who will be ready to fight and die for their freedom, for what they truly believe in. It means the message is not only of that era or that old people, old age people. This is for the people like us who are living currently also. It means there will be always a group of people who try to dominate, who try to steal our talents, or who always try to do the smart work to overcome others. Even though there are people who want to dominate and show their self, and there will also be some people who will be always, they will not dominate others, but they will fight, they will be ready to fight for those people who are trying to dominate us. So I myself, Mrs. Priya, is the second category. I'm always ready to fight back for those people who try to dominate with their unnecessary things. So I think you people also, you children, you also be ready for the second thing. You should not show dominance. Everybody has equal rights, but you should be ready to fight back when we feel that it's not right thing. Okay? And we have to believe in ourselves. This is your activities part, children. So this is also given in the textbook only. These are the pictures like hints development, story writing, how to write a story. In the last session I have we have discussed in the last session, right? Like if we give a picture, how you have to develop. They have given some hints also for these pictures. So look, fox accidentally falls into a well. How do I get out here? Hello, in this waters, is this water sweet? So in the first picture, the fox fell into the water. In the second picture, the fox is thinking how to come out. And in the third picture, the goat is peeping into the well, and this fox is planning something cunningly to get out of it. Okay? And here the fourth picture, too sweet, I have had so much I may fade. So he is telling something else, false things. In fifth picture, he let me taste it, and the goat also now wants to taste that water. Thanks for the help. Come out when you can. So now the fox played the important role. It means the people who wants to suppress others. And now the goat's part. My mother used to say, be careful how you take the advice of the people you don't know. Too sweet I have had so. So now the goat is realizing here what her mother told. Never, even though people are giving advice, we should be careful to take that advice, because in our point of view we have to think, and we don't know what is in their point of view, so we should think twice when we are taking others advice. So with all these 7 pictures, you have to create a story. Okay children, here are the points. So here they ask one another questions about the pictures. Here are the questions. They told like we have to converse. Where is the fox? The fox is in the well. What is the fox thinking? Like how to come out? What does she want to know? She means goat. She wants to know whether the water is sweet, right? And the questions are, what happens next? Where is the fox now? How did it happen? Who is the visitor? What is the fox's reply? Where is the goat and what is the goat thinking? So rather than answering for these questions, children, let us take these answers as a hint and form a story in here. Write the story in your own words, give it a title. So you have to write a title here, and then later, if you don't know how to create the points or how to create a story, you just note down the answers for these 10 questions are here. You note down the answers for these questions, and that itself will form a story. With that answers, with those answers, with the help of those answers, you can create the story very easily, because the points are now in your hands. You have to join those points. Okay. If the place is not enough in your in your textbook, you just write in a paper and paste it in the under Roman number 2. In this page itself, you can paste the paper. If the place is enough, you can write in the textbook itself, children. If the place is not enough, you write in the paper and paste it in that page itself. Okay. So with this, the chapter is over. The chapter, once again say, let me say, it is chapter 3 in English literature book, The Glimpses of the Past. And the chapter speaks about the struggle of our freedom fighters and how they fight back against the Britishers. And we have not mentioned Gandhiji, Nehru, all such great people, but we have discussed something about some people who are not known to the outside world. So today we have read, we have learned about those people who are also starting back, mainly in the North India, to fight back against the Britishers for our motherland, for our nations, for their nation, for their motherland. So this is all the story about children, and thanks a lot for being with me. This is Priya signing off from Alpha International Cbse School. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Finish your classwork with neat presentation. Okay, children? Yes, thank you.